The second demo I'm going to show you is a retail assistant. In this case, the data source is structured and it is stored in a Postgres database in case you care about that. It's basically a retail database with dummy data, and the objective of this chatbot is to provide precise responses to any customer who comes and asks questions about the orders that they have placed. For this, we have found that GPT-4 is a much better cost, ROI model for you to use, and so we're able to use that model in this particular scenario. The approach is basically, since you're querying a structured database, you need the ability to take what the user says and automatically generate these queries that will run on the database and pull the data for you, and then display that in a user-friendly form into the chatbot. And so the highlight of this particular demo is that you can handle pretty complex database operations. Again, I'll show you this in action. I'll reset here and then go back here and show you what the backend looks like. So the first thing I wanted to do is just show you the database before I get into it. Let me start the retail assistant up. And for demo purposes, we enable people to come in and just randomly select some user. But let me give you kind of an insight into what this database looks like. The database has 5 tables: customers, and we have about 37,000 customers who have placed about 500,000 orders, which works out to about 1 million items being ordered. There's a product catalog that's 2,500 or so, and about 7,700 stores. So I'm going to come in and introduce myself as customer Joan Kozak. So once I introduce myself as Joan Kozak, meanwhile, on the left side of the screen, what I'm going to do is show you the information that's available in the database for customer Joan Kozak. So let me go in here and look at this. You don't have to pay attention to all this. I'm just doing this to show you that we're using live data and we're not doing anything, and no magic here. So here's the information that's in the backend database for customer Joan Kozak. You'll notice that she most recently placed an order on the 7th of November, estimated ship date of the 12th, estimated delivery date of the 18th, and we have all the details of, this order has 4 items in different quantities, and each of these items has a weight, price, and a color, and a category, and all that stuff. So let's come back here. The first point I want to make is that, it's a bit of a nuance, but, we have the ability to recognize and address someone if we can recognize their gender. So in this case, Joan was interpreted to be a Mrs. The next, so the first question that I, Joan, am asking is, when will my most recent order be shipped? So here, like I explained previously, we take the question, and then behind the scenes, this gets converted into kind of a quasi SQL query and an appropriate prompt, and then which constructs a prompt that gets sent back to the GPT-4 model on the back end. So you'll notice that the most recent order was placed on the 7th and is expected to be delivered on the 12th. Expected to be shipped on the 12th. The next question Joan asks is, when will it be delivered? And again, you'll notice now that it's all in the context of this order. I didn't have to repeat when will my most recent order be delivered and things like that. And you'll notice that the date is the 18th, and that's what it shows. So now, Joan says, oh no, I have to attend a wedding on that day. Now, in a normal chatbot, the chatbot would respond and say, what are you talking about? We were just talking about products. But in a conversational type situation, when you ask about when something's going to be delivered, and then you follow it up by saying you're attending a wedding on that day, the implication is that you won't be available on that day to pick up your order. And this kind of inference and reasoning is supported by our conversational engine. What this does is, based on this, we give the user the opportunity to reschedule the delivery or have it delivered to for pickup or something like that. So I just wanted to show you this. I'm not going to connect to a live agent yet at this point because we showed you that in the previous example. So the next question I have is what is in the order? And coming back to the database on the left side of my screen, you'll notice that there's like 4 items and there's like a camera and a skin case and all of these kinds of things. And you can see that the chatbot was able to actually take this very simple question and convert it into a somewhat complicated query on the back end that said, what were the items in the order placed by Joan Kozak in her most recent order? So there's a lot of heavy lifting going on in the back end. So now Joan says, how much did I pay? Now this information is not in the database. It has to be computed. So we have 4 items. Each of those, so these are the 4 items. Each of these items has a quantity, which is 1, 2, 2, and 7, and a price. So the system has to actually do some computation on the back end of multiplication and addition to come up with the total for the order. And as you can see, it's capable of doing that as well. So let me ask another question. Is it possible for me to pick up the order from somewhere instead? And in this case, we'll, the system has an understanding of the customer's location. And based on the location, they're suggesting the store that's most close by. So let me just, go and have, more conversational experience here. Let me see. I'm just trying to find, okay. What categories of products have I purchased? Now this is, you'll notice that there's a bunch of categories here, and this is a fairly complex query where you have to do some grouping and some, getting out unique values and all of that. So these kind of complex queries are also possible on the back end. I'm going to say, what categories of products have I purchased which are not appliances or devices? So if you look at this list, you'll notice that the only ones that kind of qualify for that are movies and games. I'm going to try asking another question. I don't know if there's an answer for this, but just to show you, that I can ask pretty complicated questions. What categories of products have I purchased which are not appliances or devices, but which are pink? And so it's able to tell me that I have purchased the following pink product. And if you go into this database, so this is a pink, but this is a cell phone. There's another pink, which is a smartphone. This is the only pink item, which is a game and not a device or an appliance. Finally, I wanted to show you the ability to have guardrails on the data. So maybe let's say I say something like, what items have my neighbors bought? The system says, is able to detect that, look, I can only give you information about your order and not about any other stuff. And then, I can ask kind of a completely off the wall, out of context question. And because of the scope guardrails that are in place, the system should reject that and just say, hey, just ask me retail questions.